Bojan Bogdanovic, Alec Burks, you are a New York Knick. Leon Rose was up early on trade deadline day trying to find out a way to make the New York Knicks better, and he did just that. The New York Knicks have made a trade with the Detroit Pistons. The New York Knicks are sending Quentin Grimes, Evan Fournier, Ryan Arcidiacono, Malachi Flynn, and 2 second-round picks to the Detroit Pistons, and the New York Knicks will receive Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks. Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks will absolutely help this basketball team when it comes to offensive firepower. Bojan Bogdanovic, 40% from three on catch-and-shoot opportunities. Alec Burks, 40% from three on catch-and-shoot opportunities. What has been the problem for the New York Knicks dating back to the series against the Miami Heat? Someone else putting the ball inside of the basket outside of Jalen Brunson. And now you have Bojan Bogdanovic, who can get you 20 points any single night. You have Alec Burks, who will get you 20 points any given night. That will help this basketball team. We're going to break this down and more coming up in a second. But first, this is why you subscribe to New York Knicks Now by Chat Sports. We are the first video on YouTube breaking this down. We're actually live on the channel breaking this down. Sub for dubs. We're on our way to 50,000 subscribers on this channel. And if you want the New York Knicks to win the NBA title, subscribe to the channel. So kind of a whirlwind of emotions with this trade. It was first reported by Adrian Wojnarowski that the New York Knicks were trading Quentin Grimes and 2 second-round picks for Alec Burks. And I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing? We're trading Quentin Grimes, the guy we would not include in the trade for Donovan Mitchell just 16 months ago, for a 32-year-old Alec Burks who's an expiring salary. And then I took a deep breath and I said, there's got to be more. There's got to be more. Because Grimes' salary doesn't work with Alec Burks' salary. And then some birdie chirped in my ear and said, Bojan Bogdanovic is coming. And then we saw Bojan Bogdanovic going. And this is the final deal. I am sad that Quentin Grimes has been traded by the New York Knicks. I am a believer in the player and the process of Quentin Grimes. I believe he can be a starting two guard on a championship contender. I will never forget what he did for the New York Knicks in Game 5 against the Miami Heat, where he played all 48 minutes and had a crunch time game-sealing steal against Jimmy Butler. I will always appreciate Quentin Grimes. But the Knicks won this trade, and it's really not even close. You got, in my opinion, at this current moment, you got the best two players in the trade. And yes, you gave up Quentin Grimes, and that stinks. But it costs to be the boss. Can't be scared out here. Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks are heading to the Knicks. Grimes, Fournier, Arcidiacono, Flynn, and 2 second-round picks to the Pistons. Grade the trade for me. Grade the trade down in the comment section. A, B, C, D, or F. Let's say B+. Let's say B+. I can't go as far as to say it is an A, but I am very, very happy about this deal. Let's say B+ through and through. The only reason I'm not going to make it an A is because, and maybe that changes, that you add another point guard at the deadline, Kyle Lowry. But maybe Alec Burks is now your backup point guard. But at the end of the day, you just added 2 professional scorers. And I've been calling Bojan Bogdanovic a professional scorer for as long as I can remember, because that's what the dude does. He gets buckets, and he can do it at all 3 levels. This year for Detroit, averaging 20 points. Last year, averaged 20 points. Year before, 18. Year before, 17. Year before, 20. Year before, 18. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight seasons of more than 17 points per game for Bojan Bogdanovic. What has been the number one problem and flaw in the New York Knicks roster following the OG Anunoby trade? They did not have the offensive firepower off the bench. Well, you add a guy in Bojan Bogdanovic who's giving you 20 a night on 47% from the field and almost 42% from downtown. The guy is connecting on 46.6% of his pull-up threes that he's getting up over 2 a night. And he's shooting 40% on catch and shoot threes on 5.2 attempts per night. What did the Lakers do that showed the Knicks were flawed? They double-teamed Jalen Brunson as soon as he crossed half court. You can't do that now when you got Donte DiVincenzo, Bojan Bogdanovic, and Alec Burks all sitting on the wing, shooting better than 45% from downtown. And on top of that, you get Alec Burks. Fourth quarter Burks. We all know about Alec Burks and what he has done for the Knicks and what he can do as a player. Through the season, he's averaging 12 points per game, 38% from the field, not all that great, but he's shooting 39% from downtown. But in his last 21 games, Alec Burks has taken his level of play to another level. In the last 21 games where he's playing 24.6 minutes per night, he's shooting 44% from the field, 45% from three on 7 attempts per night, and giving you 16.4 points per game. So you just added 2 guys that are going to be able to get you 15 points a night and shoot 40% from three. The New York Knicks got way better today. Longer rotation. We'll talk about what the rotation will be coming up around the corner. But first, I got to give a huge shout out to today's sponsor, PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/CLNS. Use that promo code CLNS, and PrizePicks will match your first deposit up to $100. It's daily fantasy sports made easy. All you do is pick a lineup of 2 to 6 players, and you simply just choose more or less on their projected stat lines. Also, one thing that I love about PrizePicks is they always have these awesome specials like Taco Tuesday and all these fun things, and they've already got one ready for Super Bowl Sunday. They said Patrick Mahomes' passing yards at half a yard. That's a freebie. Take the more. Also, if you want 2 winners, Isaiah Pacheco will be dancing in the end zone this Sunday at least once, and Christian McCaffrey will have more than 36 receiving yards. You can roll with my picks or fade my picks, but I kindly ask if you are going to play daily fantasy, you do it with our proud sponsor, PrizePicks. It's prizepicks.com/CLNS, promo code CLNS. So the question that I've already been asked 100 times is, Marshall, how does this affect the New York Knicks rotation? And it's kind of tricky with all of the injuries that they have right now. Because you know Jalen Brunson is going to be your starting point guard. And I'm going to be honest with you, until I'll get to that in a second. I'll get to the honesty in a second. OG Anunoby is your starting small forward. But while he is gone, I believe Bojan Bogdanovic will slide in as your starting small forward. And then Alec Burks will be your first guard off the bench with Deuce McBride. And Josh Hart will also be off the bench. And then when the playoffs come, you'll have Precious Achiuwa off the bench. But the question is, will Bojan Bogdanovic be a starter when OG Anunoby returns? The only way he would be a starter is if he is taking the spot of Donte DiVincenzo. And Donte DiVincenzo has been electric for the New York Knicks since he has been added to the starting lineup. Donte DiVincenzo, in 33 games as a starter this year, is averaging 15.8 points per game, almost 4 rebounds, almost 3 assists, almost 2 steals per night, 48.3% from the deck, and 42.5% from downtown. If we did a blind resume and we just had a silhouette in Donte DiVincenzo's face right there, and you saw a shooting guard was averaging 16 points per game on 42.5% from 3, everyone would be like, no, we don't need to bench him. And I'm going to be honest with you. I am going to continue to have Donte DiVincenzo in the starting lineup. When I enter the playoffs, I want my starting lineup to be Jalen Brunson, DiVincenzo, OG, Randle, and Hartenstein, with my bench being Miles McBride, Alec Burks, Josh Hart, Precious Achiuwa, and maybe even Mitchell Robinson, as well as Bojan Bogdanovic. So off the bench, McBride, Burks, Bogdanovic, Hart, Achiuwa, Robinson. That's 11 deep. Maybe Robinson doesn't come back. I'm not sure. Maybe Deuce McBride is not a part of your rotation in the playoffs. Maybe your playoff rotation off the bench is Burks and Bogdanovic, Hart, and a big. And you only play 9 deep. Maybe you don't even play 9 deep. We know how tight Thibodeau likes to keep his rotations in the playoffs. It is going to be very, very interesting to see how Tom Thibodeau will sort through all of this. But man, whoo-wee! Bogdanovic, 40+% from three. Alec Burks, 40+% from three. Dante DiVincenzo, 40% from three. Ooh-wee. I love it, I love it, I love it. Let's close the show with this. When Randle and OG are back, and you know for a fact it's going to be Hartenstein, Brunson, OG, and Randle. When it's those four players, should Bojan Bogdanovic be the starter? Should Bojan Bogdanovic join Brunson, OG, Randle, and Hartenstein? Or should it be DiVincenzo? Should it be Bojan? Type Y for yes, type N for no, as the Knicks are getting Bojan Bogdanovic and Alec Burks. I also just want to touch on this from Bobby Marks. Says this: New York has 2 open roster spots and $2.5 million below the luxury tax. Plenty of room below the first apron to sign players bought out of their contract. Kyle Lowry, you might just be a New York Knick. I appreciate everyone for always tuning in. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel. We're on our way to 50,000 subscribers. Your one-stop shop on YouTube. Subscribe, and let's go Knicks.